Hello and good day, everyone, and welcome to Emergency Reporting, Virtual Thursday 2020-8, our 8th presentation of the year. And I'm still working on my mouse clicks here. Greetings, my name is Mark Wolf. I'm a lead international trainer for emergency reporting, and today we have with me Mark McKleroy, our lead trainer. He's actually going to be doing the presenting today, and James Angerett, a regional trainer, is on board with us as well. We will be covering our Rover powered by emergency reporting today and getting into some of the settings, how to add users and apparatus and so forth. And I want to remind everybody we do have training opportunities available for you. Our virtual Thursdays, they're free. All we do is ask you for your time. Typically presented on the first Thursday at 1100 hours Pacific time. You can change that time to whatever time zone you're in. 2 o'clock here where I am in the Eastern time zone. We do have online training available to you. This is becoming very, very popular right now because we as trainers are basically benched due to the COVID travel restrictions and so forth. We start those out typically at 3-hour blocks, and we can customize any program to meet your needs with those. Our on-site trainings, essentially most of them are on hold right now. We are starting to travel a little bit, so if you have the desire to do an on-site training with one of our trainers, give us a call and we can work out some details on that. And also our regional training academies, and again with the COVID, that's been kind of an issue getting them scheduled and running them. So far this year, they've decided to cancel all of them until the end of the year due to all the travel restrictions that we have and bringing in people from far and wide to an event. We are starting to schedule them into next year. We do have 2 scheduled. Jacksonville, Florida is scheduled for April 12th through 15th, and Charlotte, North Carolina, August 3rd through the 5th next year. And we've got some other ones that are in the queue to be rescheduled, and some other cities we're going to go to. You can find out what the status of all these are by going to this website, emergencyreporting.eventbrite.com, and you'll find out what we have scheduled and the availability of tickets for those events. And you can also go to our website, emergencyreporting.com. You can go on this page, select the options up in the upper right corner and go to Customer Success, the Training and Learning Center, and you can learn about our training opportunities like we just discussed, and also our regional training academies are listed there. And you can also email us at training@emergencyreporting.com. So with that, I am going to change the presenter over to Mac, and he is going to continue. So Mac, you've got it.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Hope everybody's having a good day, staying safe, keeping you and your family and community safe wherever you are. Looks like we've got about 20 people in today. So what we're going to do, get started. This is, of course, I've already logged in to Rover. Now, Rover, if you're an emergency reporting customer also, we do have a link for you, and I'll sort of show you where that is when we get into it. But we've changed some things. Most of you do not have the black bar up there. It's just the way that we're able to log in on the emergency reporting side to be able to get more into the program and on the back side of it to try to help you out some. Some of our customers still have that. So we have changed the headings here a little bit to try to make it a little bit more user-friendly and stuff. So look for some changes there coming out at a later time. So this particular view you have now is the home screen. Instead of having our station display out up here, it's actually, if you hover over it, your station displays, and you can have multiple in here. Then we've got, of course, Rover messaging. I believe everybody pretty much sure about that. I do want to point out the new help, support, and help section we've added to the new customers that are coming out. That's where you can go to support. Of course, if you click on that, it's going to open up our support with emergency reporting through Zendesk. It'll take you to that page. If you do not have a username and password for that. It is not your same username and password for Rover or for emergency reporting. You need to click on a link, and I'm probably already logged in, but I'll log out so you can see it. So we'll actually log out so that you can get into it and see what I was talking about here. But when you push that, you'll see right down here at the bottom, sign up. Go sign up for that, please. You put your email in that you want associated with it, and it will show you and walk you through what you need to do here when you hit the sign up. Put that information in, and then it will send you a password for you to use through your email that you put in. So works really well. I think you'll be able to learn a lot through it. We are, this is our support page that you will see. You'll see the Rover knowledge base. We are putting some new ones in here as we speak. These two just got added today, so some of the others are a little bit older, but still got some valuable information in there. So make sure you go look at those and sort of go through that to help you out also, even after our training. And this will be posted. I want to mention that. Will be posted under emergency reporting. If you go to emergency reporting knowledge base, you scroll all the way down to the bottom where you get webinars on demand. It will be posted here sometime either tomorrow afternoon or by Monday morning. Should be up. Okay, so you can go see it for those of you that want to review, or some of the ones that may come in late or catch it later on, you'll be able to. Okay, so the Rover Settings is where we're going to spend our time today. So in Rover Settings, we've changed some names a little bit here. This is used to be called either User Manager or Add and Edit Users. We've made it Personnel and Apparatus. Those of you that have had the training or are familiar with the system, you'll know that either one of those really take you to the same place. So if we go click or hover over Rover Settings, this could be also Rover or Personnel or something like that in your system, maybe even Rover AD was some of the ones that would just come out recently. So you'll go in, you'll click on that. It will actually take you to the User Manager section. So you've got your subscribers. This will drop down and you can pick, you know, Apparatus, subscribers or whatever. But as far as adding them in, this is just selecting your grid. As far as adding them in, it's going to be the same way. We will go to Add User. So when we add user, it's going to come up. Notice that there are some that have the asterisk on them, so that means you have to put something in there. We can type in, I'll do a, let's see, a test user here is what we're going to put as far as the title. Okay, we're going to go in and we'll put his first name as test, last name user. Then we're going to play display name. We'll call this one Bubba. Okay, and then the email address is, say, test user at emergency reporting. If I can spell today. Nope, I can't. Okay, so we'll put that email address in there. Now, this notify just means you'll notify them with an email. You've got a random password. If you leave this checked, once you create the user, it will give them a random password through the system, or you can uncheck that and we'll just make it, we'll put one in here as, okay. All right, so then we can put create user. So then it's going to jump to this screen. Okay, notice it brought my information over. The big thing you want to look at is the user icon. It's going to default to the fire helmet. If they're the chief or you want a badge on them, or if it's an engine or ambulance you're putting in, you'll be able to put that stuff. You've even got an ambulance star life for the ambulance if you would like. Home phone number, work number is not necessarily required. The one thing you do want to make sure you put in is the mobile phone. Make sure you put a mobile phone. This mobile carrier, there's multiple in here, and I know sometimes this is confusing. What I would recommend for ease of use right now is to go with EMAG, the lowercase EMAG. Go with this one. What that is sort of like a generic side. It will hit basically any of them. If you do see problems or they come back and say, hey, I'm getting multiple text messages, and what we call it in here is the SMS. Are they getting a text message where it's broken down? Are they getting multiple of those for like one message? You can go back and see, like for AT&T, the best one here is the AT&T MMS CHOP. What that's going to do is it's going to give you more characters in a text is what it's doing. So that's why there's so many of them and so many broke down in there that you can change them out that way. We do have, for a lot of our first responders, we're going with FirstNet now because of the FirstNet nationwide. So you can go FirstNet also is in there. So one of those usually I like picking EMAG just to start with. Just because it's simple and I don't really have to ask what carrier they have and all this good stuff. As far as you can get send a pin, you'll have a pin come in. It's actually going to this email. Still couldn't spell, but you'll have a pin, user pin pop up. But once you get this filled out, you can put update. It's going to throw that in there. And then this user pin is actually what you will give them their phone number that they put in for their mobile carrier. And then this PIN number is what they'll put in on the Rover app when they download it. This is the Rover portal. This is where you'll make any changes, any updates or something that you want when you're updating your people, an apparatus or something like that, you would add in here. The next thing we would go to, of course, at the bottom, you're going to see this blue button. It says update or set or something like that. Always click the blue button. That's like our save button. Okay, the presets here. Notice because I added someone, I don't have presets. So if this is a person, okay, if it's an apparatus, choose from my apparatuses, but if I'll leave it here, copy presets from user. So I want to copy it from another user in the account, like if I'm adding somebody, I can drop this down here. I can find a user, so I'll pick Mark Wolf. I can copy from him. So I'll copy him. It says confirm, yes. So then they're going to pop in with the others that other people have. So I could put them in there without having to add each one of them. If I wanted to add a preset, we could add one. I could add a preset here. I need to number it a different number than I have here. So I'm going to go with 03. Okay. I can say what state do I want them in. I'm going to say unavailable. Location I don't have to have. I don't have to have the time in this one. And I'll just put unavailable for call. And I'll insert it in, and then you'll see it pop up here. This is the description or the message that you'll see on the screen when we go. If someone is in that state, you will see that on your app and stuff like that. Okay. So we will update that. That will stay on his only, but I added one to him. Then we look at qualifications. Now qualifications here, we've shortened this list down. Some of y'all that's been there a while, you can add to this. I'll show you that in the next section that we go into as far as Rover Admin. But we sort of cut this down to basic ranks and stuff within departments just to try to limit the list a little bit, get it all on one page, make it look a little bit easier. But you can add or take away the ones you don't want very easily, okay? So if you added anybody here, we're going to say this particular test guy is a firefighter EMT. So we'll add those qualifications or update them. Now we'll go to roles, which is the next tab here. Now in roles, these are roles also look at roles like they are your permissions, okay? They're set behind the scenes already. Each one of these roles have certain permissions attached to them. So we're going to say that this test user, we're going to leave as a subscriber, but we're going to also, we want them to reset users. They can send messages. We don't want them to be able to send alarms. They don't need that. Okay, so this is sort of where we're at, and you just pick the ones you want. Just remember, for your apparatus, always check this one. Mainly for apparatus, you'll check apparatus and subscribers, leave everything else open unless you're having your apparatus do that. If you don't have a specific device assigned to an apparatus, like an iPad or a Chromebook or a phone or something, a smartphone that you are assigning, leaving in a piece of equipment or a piece of one of your apparatus, then you don't need them to do anything else. Make sure they're on apparatus. That apparatus role here actually triggers on the front. You will see this red and green right here, so it triggers that to be put up here. So if for some reason you have people's names up here, if you'll go find that person in your system, when we get through that list of people and you go in, just uncheck apparatus on their name, and their name and stuff will go away on the front page there. Okay, so any questions here so far? Any questions so far, guys?
No, Mac, we don't have any. Just as you asked me, Mac, about questions, if anybody does have any questions out there as we're going through this, don't hesitate to throw them into the chat, and we'll be able to monitor those. And we'll interrupt Mac, and we'll jump right into whatever your question is.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, guys. So notifications. Now, notifications here is everything we do in Rover here. It's actually will give you, because you put your phone number, you have a PIN number, and you have an email address in there. So we have the ability to send you, actually, if you get an alarm, for instance, it's going to send you all three out, which means you'll get a text message, that's the SMS, you get an email, and your app alert will go off. So that's the thing that you can control in here, is your alert. So I can turn off all text messages for this particular person. And same thing, if you don't have anything on your apparatus, of course, go ahead and turn these off because they're not going anywhere. The app alerts, notice in here, I cannot do anything in this. In the portal here, this has to be done by the person on their app. So they'll set this up in there, okay? Okay, so we'll update. I'll cover, there's alarm messages, there's a message board. These two here will actually show up on your station display or home screen, whichever one you're looking at, will actually see those. These bottom two, this personal message will actually come to that individual or two individuals. It doesn't necessarily come to the station display screens, any of those. The threshold alert will note of an apparatus out of service. This is what this is for. I'll show you here when we get into the Rover Admin where that's at and what that's actually tied to at the present time. Okay, of course we have a password here. This is where a person can put their old password in. You can update it. Same process here, old password, new password twice. It's just, you know, how everybody does that. So that's how that's in. Then we have the state. Everybody should be, your initial state here should be in service. That's what state you're normally in. The presets are all different states that you could be. Either you're en route to the station, en route to the scene, you're out of service, you're unavailable, you're whatever. Those are different states that a user or an apparatus can be in. But our normal state is in service, okay? Now, if you have an apparatus, for instance, and that apparatus goes in service, if you noticed on my account when we first came in here to the home here, I have Medic 2 is out of service. If I have a device assigned to that unit, like we were saying an iPad or whatever, then I could actually go to that iPad and just select that preset because I have that preset in my apparatus. So we could just go in there and set it. Here, I'll go back real quick to show you that if I go to apparatus and I look at one of the presets here under my apparatus, they are in there. So see, I have apparatus out of service or apparatus back in service. Okay, so I can select that preset. So if I'm on the app, not sure I've got it up, guys, just a second. I'll show you real quick what that looks like. So if I have the app up and running, you see I have an out of service right here. So if this was my device on my apparatus, I could just go down here, open this up, and select the preset out of service, and it would throw that apparatus out of service, and it would turn red on the home screen and stuff. So, but if you do not have that, then that's where we're going to go to this screen here on the state right here, and we're going to drop this down and put it out of service alert. So then it would be out of service, and that would change it. So this, you only have to be in the portal to do that on your apparatus if they are not, if they don't have a device assigned to them. Okay. All right, and then the last here is the mobile device. Now this is going to be blank until that person or whatever goes and signs in and does their sort of add the Rover app. The Rover app is free. You can get it on Google Play Store, on the Apple Store, whichever one you use on the Windows Store. That's what I'm actually on Windows with a Surface Pro here. So if I go add that in and I have that, I put my phone number in. So I'll show you on the app here. If I go open it up, you go up to the little hamburger, the 3 lines up here on the top right, open them up. This is after you download it, you're going to come to this page here within the app. You put your phone number, that PIN number that we talked about when we were putting that second page we were on, putting the personnel in or the apparatus. You would do a fetch and save, and then it's going to come up here. So that's what lines that in or logs you in. If you happen to be on more than one department that uses the Rover, you do not have to download it again. You get the PIN that you have on the first one. You go into your settings here. When you're on that one, you just have to have the officer or whoever's putting you in on your new department, your secondary department or whatever, they would go in and use, you would give them the PIN number to put in there. And where I'm talking about is on your user profile down here, you keep that same PIN number right here. So if you've been issued one already, you put that PIN number in, and then when you go to the Rover app and put that in, then up here on the top, there again, you put it in, do the fetch and save. Up here on the top, if I click on the name of the department, if I open that up, then I will see the departments I'm linked to, and that I have access and could change the different ones right there. Okay. So we went through this area. We've got that down. No questions from that, I assume. So we've actually added that person in. So if we go back to down here, we can go back and we can see that that person is in under our subscribers test user right here. There's Bubba. Okay. All right. So that's how you add a user. The same thing is to add an apparatus, other than remember on that page here when we're going in on the roles, make sure we check apparatus and subscriber. The rest of the stuff can be off. Okay. No questions there. Let's go to Rover, the permissions, manage permissions and roles. We'll look at that real quick. Now these are given sort of behind the scene as far as the permissions that tie to each role. Okay, it does have a description out here beside it of what they can do. Sort of look into that. You can. It will tell you roughly the number of people you have. Now, granted, you're going to have extra administrators in there. That's from our ER staff where we can get in and help you. So you may see some numbers there that may not add up to the exact number you have in your department. But that's just showing you how many, because you can be in multiple of these roles. Remember, I can have everybody subscribers but then when I look, I may have also registered users just like this. It's going to be more. So it's not a total number here, so don't get that confused. Okay, so if I go into one of these, I can actually go into, say, Rover Admin, for instance. And when I pull this up, you're going to see down here, you see down at the bottom, manage users in this role. So I don't have to go touch everybody individually. I can come in here and I can actually drop this down and pick somebody. So say I want to put Lisa in this role, so I can add user. One thing we want to do is, you see this little check mark right here. It is naturally checked. We want to make sure we uncheck that unless you want to send them an email. But to be honest with you, if that's checked, that's a fast way to get a call, okay? So maybe we want to put Lisa in there for a time frame. We want to say from effective date on 7/23 until the 31st of this month. Say we're going to have, Danielle's going to be out sick, or excuse me, out on vacation. So we want to move Lisa into this role for this time frame. So we go add user. You see the effective and the expiratory date. So if we close this, now we'll see that Lisa is in that role, but when that date expires, she will fall back to the role she was in to start with and come out of that role. So you can adjust your stuff like that so that, you know, if you've got somebody acting or that somebody's going to be out or something and you need them in a certain role, you can fix that there. Okay, and you can also move people around and shift them from here, going in that and manage people in those certain roles. Okay, no questions, guys? Everybody good?
Yep, no questions yet, Mac.
Either one of two things. I've really doing a good job, or people's like asleep or something like that. I know it's right after lunch, right? All right, so let's go to Rover Admin. Okay, now this is a section where we've got to be careful what we touch. Okay, I will pretty much say once you get your system set up, this whole Rover Admin is pretty much a no-go. Okay, just stay out of it. It should be working correctly. You don't have to worry about it. We do, on this first one here is the core. You can't really see it. I'll flip over. It's core. That's where it's going to come to unless you move around and you're on a different tab, it will stay there. But we're going to go to core. You see the default state in service. Apparatus groups, of course, is apparatus. And then you have your in service default apparatus state is in service. So these should be set to that. Your confirmation states, these are just the states that sort of we've used these particular ones when we're doing our presets, so that they also change colors when we're going. So just like we say, if we have an apparatus or something en route, a person en route, their color is going to sort of change on your screen when you see them, okay? Same thing, you saw everything in service is going to be green. If it's out of service for some reason, it's going to be red. If it's back in service, of course, green. And then your unavailables, off duty, and out of service are all red, just showing that, hey, stop, this person is not coming. Okay, your locations here, these are the locations of your stations roughly. You can put these in right here, pretty easy to add. You just add here and then go through. Just make sure when you do menu IDs, it's not one of these, okay? Pick another one. You've got a short name, long name, and the address. Make sure you put the whole address, and you can do a comma zip code. It's usually pretty accurate there. If for some reason it's not, you can adjust it on the map. I'll show you in a minute. But you do want to make sure you put the zip code in there just so it will geocode your lat long correctly. Okay. All right, so we won't add one there. It's correct here. We've got them all in there. So if you add a station or something like that, you come in here and put that, and I'll show you where to go in the map editor and stuff to actually make sure it's correct. All right, then we've got, this is the qualifications area I was talking about, where you can go in and add new or either take away some of the ones you don't need, whichever. They're not hurting anything if you're not using them. We just try to keep it a little smaller than what it was before. Okay, then if you've changed anything, just click updates. Remember, the blue is the save, basically. We didn't really change anything, we just looked through it. So we'll go on to notifications. Now on your notifications, another part here that can really cause some havoc, any of this in your system as far as your live system. So I want to make sure what we do in here and how we do that. Up top, these should be set already. You shouldn't have a problem here. You do want to make sure this particular one right here is set to subscribers. If you've already had, if you've been receiving calls from your CAD and receiving those in, sometimes if they stop, you can go look right here and see if for some reason this changed. If it hasn't changed and it's still says subscribers, then that's a call to our support. Let us know what's going on, or at least you might want to try your dispatch to see if they're able to see it or something going on there first too. That threshold alert I was talking about your apparatus out of service, this is where that sort of comes into play. Okay, now what I have on here is, of course, apparatus out of service. That's one I put in. So we'll look at it just to show you how this is. If you add, it's going to do the same thing where it comes up like this. So I'll say this particular state, out of service at station 1, if it's greater or equal to 1, that means it's going to send all my officers a message saying apparatus out of service. Now you can choose this for whatever group. I can put it on all members so that way everybody sees it, because especially if you're a volunteer department or something, you want everybody to know, even if this piece of equipment or this apparatus is in the station, we don't want it to be taken on a call or anything. It needs to stay there. So that just way everybody knows it, that there's a problem with the apparatus, so don't take it. And it will also, once you do that, you change that in service like we were talking about, or you do it on the mobile app. If you have a device assigned to it, then it will automatically send you that alert. Okay, then we also have one also, same thing, if you put it back in service, once you do, it's going to send that alert out to all members saying apparatus is back in service. So same thing here. This one is just a test. I wouldn't worry about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and take this. Do you use this, Mark, or can I take it out?
No, Mac, I do not know where that came from.
Me neither. So let's take that out. All right. You can do others here for alerts. The thing that I sort of look at here is you can put, say, I do a callback, and you can say a state callback or en route. I want X number. If it's greater than this, then it sort of sends me a message saying I've got this many people coming. I have seen some issues with that where it actually, if you say I want 5 people, once it reaches that threshold, it may not let other people say they're en route. So I sort of stay away from that, but if you want it, let us know. We might can assist you with that also. So, and then you have the state auto update. The main one we put in is the out of service, that top one there. What it is say you've got somebody out. They usually don't go on vacation more than 14 days. I think most of us probably, 4 to 7 is about max vacation time that we usually take at one time. But if you've got somebody out for that period of time, chances are they're going to forget to go back in and put themselves in service. This particular setup, what it does is just after 14 days, notice this is days, hours, minutes, seconds on here. So after 14 days, it will automatically put them back in service for them. So that way if they forget. And you can change these days around, but it comes preset with 14. Okay. And what this is doing is, if I'm saying I'm en route to the station and I'm over an hour, it's just going to set me back to in service. Same thing if I'm en route to a scene and I'm over an hour away, it's just going to set me back to in service. It's just things we set up in there for demos and stuff. Okay. The bottom down here is pretty much for CAD stuff, so you can just let that lie. Stay away from these areas, okay? So we did change a few things. I took something out, so I'm going to update. And then we can look at the next one is RMS, okay? Excuse me. On the RMS section, what this is really for is like if you have an RMS partner, which emergency reporting on this particular instance, you're going to go in, we're going to set all this up for you. And if you are an emergency reporting customer, you can go into your emergency reporting account under the personnel. There is a link to in the knowledge base, I believe, to show you how to do this, but you want to go into personnel, add a user into your ER account, give them a username and password. They need to have admin privileges, okay? So make them an admin and then come back in here. Once you save all that and get them all logged in, you come back in here and put that username and password in here and hit update. This is all you have to do on this page, okay? What that's going to do later on is I'll show you when we're doing the map area, is to be able to pull your hydrants and pre-planned data and all that in from ER just with a few simple clicks, and it'll pull it and dump it into your Rover account. Okay. Miscellaneous here. This particular section here, notice it says meters. So it's not 200 feet, it's 200 meters. This area is when we're looking at the home screen here, this circle, anything within that circle that is 200 meters from the center is what it's going to throw your pre-plan. So if I have pre-plans in that area, not necessarily just that address, but in this area, it will tell me and it'll flash on my app. So if I'm in the app, it will flash this pre-plan red if it's within that 200 meters of that call. Okay, that's what that's saying. The 20 that you saw on there was actually is that distance it first shows when we click on the map or click on the app. That's that pinpoint radius. Most of the time in the app it's set for 15. For here it's on 20, but it's just that initial look, what you're seeing, like your elevation above the call. So when you take a map and you can go closer in or further out, we just set it at that initial height roughly, okay? Then your reset permissions here, you're giving those permissions and stuff out to your different groups is what this is for. Now you've got your select shifts schedule here. If you're using the events module that comes with, which mine is set to counter, but some have got events. If you're using that, what will you select here? You drop it down and select the events section that's here is what you're doing here, which I can set this one here. It's just going to match up. What I did, since I'm an emergency reporting user and all my people could log into emergency reporting, is I just set this to go to my emergency reporting calendar. That's the difference. Okay, make sure these drop downs should be correct. If they're not, change them up the way they need to be. These down here are all preset. This one here is usually set to off, but what this hide empty users does, this little checkbox here, is that when I'm on my home screen here, and if, you know, some see all of the, you know, en route to station, en route to scene or whatever, they'll be blank. If it's blank with that button selected there, with that check mark in it, with this check mark there, it just hides the ones that are blank. So if they're empty, it takes them away. As soon as someone goes into that spot, if they're responding somewhere or something, a message goes out or something, it will bring that back to show on there. It's just cleaning up your screen a little bit is what that's doing. Okay, everything else is set good. So of course we hit update. And then we'll go over to the app. Now this is sort of setting what the app does and what you're allowing people to do in the app. This is set, this meter's here, the map radius is 244. So what that's doing is when I'm in the app, this circle that I see around my call, that's 244 meters around. So roughly that's about 800 feet from this circle anywhere to the call. So that means if on my apparatus, I'm carrying 1,000 feet of supply line, if I see a hydrant anywhere in this circle, chances are I can make it to the scene with one apparatus to get there. That's what it's telling you. Just a quick visual view. So if it's 800 feet from the circle in, that means it's 1,600 feet across the circle, the diameter of the circle. Okay. All right, and then the 15 there again, that's the map zoom level. That's what it's initially setting up. And then you can say send messages. Okay, only my officers can send messages, can send alarms. The chiefs can set user state. Anybody that has Rover Admin can set edit maps, officers, links, stuff like that. Your target groups down here, there again, that is your groups that you set in there, the different roles that you've set up. This security, mobile security levels should always be set to high. Okay. And then you have your quick messages here. Now for quick messages, what these are is they're on the app where you can do from about 3 clicks, you can send this out to everybody by the bulletin board. So remember the bulletin board is just under the alarm set. So it really sends it out to everybody. It notes it on your home screen and everything that you sent this out as a message, so everybody gets it and they can interact with it. So if they say, okay, I see this message, I can go and route, you know, and you can adjust these. You can also make quick alarms down here if you have certain ones that you know, maybe you don't have a CAD system, but you want to send out a structure fire to certain, you can make that quick alarm, and then you can just have to type in the address or something. Okay. All right. The others here are going to be the IVR, which is basically just what's on the front here of your screen with the phone numbers in. This is for people, you know, we always say smartphones. If you got a smartphone, well, I guess the opposite spectrum of that's a dumb phone that doesn't have data or something like that. You can just call this number and they can interact with the map. So if they don't have, they've got the old flip phone or something that doesn't have data, they can program this number in there, call it, push the button, and it pushes them en route. So you will see it on your home screen that that person's en route. The parsing and inner site stuff, especially parsing, just stay out of, because that's how your system is parsed up to make your CAD calls come in correctly and view correctly on your system. And then inner site, we do have the ability, if you have neighbors that are on on Rover, then you would actually can get with their chiefs and y'all get together and we can actually sort of merge your two systems to some degree so that certain people can see when, if they're sending an apparatus to you to assist or for mutual aid, you'll see them coming, you'll get a time frame on their arrival and all that good stuff. Okay. Now, I've often heard people say when we're talking about arrival, they ask about, okay, I see en route to scene or en route to station here, but I don't see arrive. How do I push I arrive? You don't have to push your arrive. The system notices and recognizes where you are when you're being tracked en route. So you will see you coming down the road. When you get within about 300 meters or so of this site, of that call that the system sent out, it will automatically mark you as arrived, so it'll be AAR. If you're en route to the station, my station is right here. I'm a paid department, so we really don't have one going to the station, except unless it's me coming in for a call or something for arson investigation or something like that. I may go to the station. But when I get X number of feet from the station or so, it will also mark me as arrived at that destination. So it does that for you. So there's no need to have an arrived on there. So that's what that's to do. Okay. All right, no questions there. Let's cover the last thing here is the pre-plan admin map editor section. Now within here, remember I told you under the RMS that we went in and we actually told you how to add your system or connect your Rover and your emergency reporting. With that, if I come down like the pre-plan, if I go to the bottom, I already added mine in, but if I come down and I put Occupancy Import, I would come in, I would choose the marker I want, and I've chose yellow before, so we would do yellow. We would select all and import. When I do that, this is what's going to come up, and they'll start seeing. So when I'm on my display screens, our home screen, that's all the yellow markings in here. That's the pre-plans and the occupancies of the occupancies that I have. Okay, now if I want to see one, I can go in, I can push pre-plan. If I'm signed into my ER account, it'll go straight to it and actually print that out. There's my pre-plan on that building. Okay, that's what that does for you. The other thing you can do in, of course, upload your hydrants. And I'll go back to the map here. If I select here and go to hydrants, okay, go down at the bottom, hydrant sync, click on the hydrant update all and import, same thing, the hydrants come over and start populating on your map. A few other things that the map will do for you and you want to check is, number one, you want to go check locations. Now on locations, remember we had our fire stations put in under locations. Now this is where we can see it, the icon to view on the left. On the right, we can go in and actually edit anything we need to edit. So if we come in, it'll show our location, our hydrant, or excuse me, our station. We can go satellite, we can drill down in and see, is that correct? Now it is correct for my station, but say if I was volunteer department and I had people parking over here to come to the scene or to get an apparatus, I would want to move that slightly to that area just so it hits them as being arrived a little sooner, so my times are a little more accurate. Okay, so that's what we can do in here. Then you would just go down and hit update and it would update that lat long for where you just placed that icon. Okay, now let's go back. So you check all your stations to make sure all of them are accurate, which this one I'm pretty sure is. Let's make sure. I believe I've already checked it several times. No, it is not. So let's move that. I'll show you how to move it. Just move it up the street. Whoops, I went the wrong way, guys. Right there. Okay, there's the station. Notice it did change my lat long for me. So what I can do is geocode to where it is and then hit update, and then it will update that for me. So when I go back to location now, all that is coming in correctly. All right, a few other things I'll show you is, let's go to address alert here. Now I can do a new map object. Maybe I know one thing that's on people's mind nowadays. Now this is showing my home where I'm at right now, but I know one thing we're looking at is saying COVID information. If somebody's been diagnosed with it, or they have it, we want to try to know before we go in, so we're proper PPE to go in so we can take care of our community, of course. So we can say, okay, for this address, we're going to say COVID positive or something like that, and we can put in there, well, and we can just do something like that, on it. We come down, of course we've put the address in. We can show an icon here if we want to put warning on there, whatever, and then we can go over here to location and we put that in the summary, or excuse me, on the comments 1. And right here we'll show on alarm send. We check that box and then we go down and push update. So if an alarm comes in, a call comes in for that particular address, it will show you that on the screen. Okay. The
Mac,
same
can I
thing.
interrupt you for just a moment?
Sure. Go ahead.
This is a 10-minute warning. We're 10 minutes to the top of the hour, just for everybody on board with this. Both Mac and I have commitments here at the top of the hour, so we will be ending the program in 10 minutes. Thanks, Mac.
Correct. Thank you. All right. So you can make this different things. I'm going to show one now that talks about a geofence, and this is the last thing we'll cover. But we're going to say, like right now, this road from right here to down here is closed. So I could put a geofence around that. I could color it red, and I could put a note over here saying road closed. Okay. Now that's going to show on my alert. If I get any call with an address on this street, it will let me know. Okay. And that is pretty much it. We'll show a little bit with the app. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then we'll take any questions here the last few minutes. But you've got summary, you've got your alarms. They're going to list from most recent back. Your messages, they're again most recent back. You've got the map on here that just gives you a large view. And you've got your hamburger up here in the top left. If you click on it, it's set to road map, but you can make it satellite, or you can do hybrid, which is a cross between road map and your satellite view. So you've still got somewhat of a satellite view, but you got your road names on it. Okay. So off the summary, you'll see right here beside the call, you've got this little directional or app that says arrow that talks about a map. Now this, if you click it, it's going to give you, it wants to open whatever device you're on, the maps portion of that device. So if I'm on Apple, it's going to open, you know, Apple Maps or whatever, and that's how you get to your turn-by-turn directions to a call. Okay. All right. Then those quick messages are up here in the top left. If I click on it, there's the all hands. So I click it, all hands operating fire. I can post it right there very quick going out. This override here is just override if somebody says they've turned off something on their phone or email. If you click this, it will force it through, no matter their choice, you know, on that. Then of course you've got your two selections here. You can only have two, but your other presets are down here. Okay. And then of course up top right, you've got your settings, which is, remember, fetch and save if you do anything in your app to update it or sync it with the portal. Then you've got your reset users. There again, if anybody's on a call, after a call, whoever you choose that does the call or whatever needs to go in and reset all users in case they forgot, just to kick them back to in service off this call. You've got users. You can go in and I can send a message to say Mark Wolf. I can send a message and just put test for this one and send it out. So that's just an individual message that you can do here. I can also select groups up here. Then you've got your schedules. This is for meetings that are coming up or something you can see in here. You can go in and actually register for a class, and then it says, okay, there's one of 30 that's attending this class or this meeting or whatever. Especially during the COVID, maybe we've reduced that number. So once we get to that number, it'll close out. Okay. And then the refresh is just like a update. It's not doing a fetch and save. It's not the same thing. So don't think that. And then you have all your links down here. Now these links will open in whatever web browser you have for the device you're using the app on. So it doesn't open in here. It will open in a web browser. All right. And that's pretty much it, guys. Any questions or concerns, thoughts, anything?
Well, Mac, you've been doing such an awesome job. We just had a couple comments, more or less, by Justin. He appreciates all the tips that you've been giving them, and he asked about some pricing. But for anybody that's wondering, if you're not a Rover customer yet, all the pricing is handed out to our sales team. So you'll need to contact our sales team for that kind of information. And Tom Lewis was out there kind of shadowing us a little bit and just putting a remark in there. Good job, guys. And we're telling him, thanks, Tom. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll give everybody a couple minutes here to, if you do have a question to put in. We have 14 of you that's left, with a high of about 22 or so. If you do have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll jump into them here before we get off on the air with you.
All right. Well, I don't see any other questions or anything. I do appreciate the time and hope everybody learned something today and can